the meeting that was happening yesterday in Myanmar is actually the first meeting of the joint working group, which was already established in December as a result of the agreement, the arrangement that the two governments have made. All along, we have indicated our interest to be involved in the work of that joint working group in order to ensure that the refugees are heard, that their wishes are also reflected, and so that we can ensure that the returns happen in a manner that would be in line with the international standards. In other words, that these returns are voluntary and that they are safe and sustainable.
Now, let's say the conditions were put in place for their safe return, and they have said, Bangladesh and Burma, that the returns would be voluntary. Is it even realistic, though, to send back hundreds of thousands of people within 2 years?
Well, first of all, before we discuss these modalities, it is really important that the voices of refugees are reflected in these discussions, and that the refugees are given proper information about the conditions and the situation there, and to what kind of legal and citizenship status they would have. Only then they can make an informed decision about what they want to do. This is the key principle that should actually guide this process, the ability of the refugees to decide about their future.
Now, in the meantime, you were telling us about your work in Bangladesh. Could you describe your operations there, the priorities?
Well, we are working against the clock. Essentially, it's not just that we are dealing with the emergency that has started on the 25th of August. We are also dealing with a number of issues, obviously, together with many other humanitarian partners, in dealing with a situation of a massive influx. The Kutupalong site, which currently alone hosts more than 560,000 people, is today the largest refugee settlement in the world. It clearly needs the administrative and the logistic support, and as the monsoon season is also approaching, we are working very hard to improve the shelter conditions, especially because this area is very hilly. There are many creeks and so on. There are risks of landslides. So while these conversations are taking place, in the meantime, we need to make sure that the refugees are provided for, that they are in a safe place, that they have enough food, medicine, and that obviously we look after the education and other needs of these people.
And what about in Burma? Obviously, access to Rakhine State has been a real issue. Is that still very much the case?
We still have, UNHCR has no access in the northern Rakhine State beyond the city of Mungdao. This is where our office is. Some agencies have gained limited access and they are doing some work, but for UNHCR, this is something that we urgently need, unhindered access, so we can assess the situation in the area, that we can provide support to those who are still there, and that also we can provide support to any potential returns and in rebuilding.